Hey babes, let's get ready together. And I already did some of my base, and I'm still experimenting with this Hourglass concealer. I know for sure that, let me get it real quick. So this one by Dolce & Gabbana is the, oh no, it's called Everlast Concealer. I called it the Devotion one because of this heart thing. By the way, it's huge. This is such a huge thing. I do not love how big this is. It's 11 mils, and this is 6 milliliters. However, I do prefer a sleek packaging, of course. You know me, maybe you don't. Well, this is what I prefer. And here I have the 09 in light medium in the Dolce & Gabbana. This shade, you know, I'm B20 to B30 in Chanel, or I'm an N3 to usually 4N, but certainly 5N at my darkest in Charlotte Tilbury. And here in the Hourglass, this is the one I'm wearing today, is the shade Willow in 2.3. But this is very brightening on me, so this is definitely a brightening shade, while this one is very much my skin tone, and light medium. I think this was a neutral peach description, while I would advise that peach means rather yellow leaning in this one. So I think I would get shade 08 the next time around. It's pretty yellow. It does not stand out at yellow as a yellow shade on my skin tone. It blends in very well, so it's not a deal breaker, but I do prefer it more neutral than that. And so yeah, you know, sometimes these descriptions are very different from brand to brand. And this Willow one is actually quite neutral, and I was surprised because I once before, years ago, I ordered this concealer, and I just got really frustrated with the shade selection because I ordered a shade and it looked like a white on me, with straight white with maybe some yellow leaning, and I thought I ordered a neutral shade. If you shop this concealer, they have horrible computer generated swatch pics for this one, and Charlotte Tilbury usually does it as well. Swatches advertised on their websites that have nothing to do with the actual shade you would receive, and this goes for lipsticks as well. It's not just that I maybe was confused about my own this complexion shade. It's just all around a very bad system, and I highly appreciate when brands take actual pictures of real models and show us reliable swatches. So yeah, but back to the formula. So I absolutely recommend the Dolce & Gabbana over this one, because I think the way I think the way these go on is both a self-setting, luminous matte with some blurring, with some mildly blurring qualities to it, but this one holds up so much better. So I wore these side by side, and even though I wore the Dolce & Gabbana on the eye that is more complicated, because this side the lid as well as here, the indentation on this side is much deeper than on this side, and also the darkness is much worse. But the hourglass broke up horribly, and I think I'm pretty sure I wore that elf grip primer underneath that I really like. So today I'm wearing my Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation, but I'm not wearing the pink grip primer because the blue one is fragrance, and I also don't like when brands do that and confuse you, and you might grab this blue one thinking, well, they're fragrance free. Well, it's different. So yeah, when I wore them side by side, the way they broke up was quite similar, but it was so much heavier on the hourglass side. But now, for your understanding, I do have, you can tell, very deep set eyes, and my inner corners are super deep, and make me look very tired, and here you can tell as well. So I thought it was time to step up my game, try something new. Usually I would not grab a matte concealer. I'm quite happy with actually using the Beautiful Skin Foundation just around my eyes. You know, probably I do it in one go because I apply it with hands, but you would probably say that I apply 2 layers around the eye area, and it works really well. And when I compare the coverage between these two, I think both claim high coverage. And the way I'm wearing this Beautiful Skin Foundation by Tilbury, I do not see a difference at all in the coverage. While the Tilbury never broke up around my eye area, never even close, nothing. It would crease mildly, but ever since I started to wear this elf grip primer, especially around the eyes, that completely stopped it from creasing mildly. So it was a pretty perfect base game, I would say, besides the fact that I had still darkness showing through. But if I only wear these, I still have that, just because it's so dark. So today I'm wearing the Charlotte Tilbury foundation as I described, the way I apply it, and I'm wearing this one only in my inner corners, very mildly put on here, very mildly just spread a tiny bit at the beginning here, because if I drag this one up into the lid space, it breaks up so badly. But the great thing is also the way it creases. I put it on, and the way it sits on my skin, it enhances the texture of my skin where it does not even have texture, you know what I mean. I think you would call it cakey and texture enhancing. So, but I did notice that I have some use for it as a little brightening touch if I try my hardest to focus it the tiniest bit here to add some brightness and some mild coverage, you know, on top of the Tilbury foundation. So this is the way I'm going to use this, and I'm quite satisfied with it. Today I wanted to try this one. This is a very cheap essence brush. So this is this little silicone type of thing. Can you see? Please ignore the ugly veins on my hands. Believe it or not, I've had this my whole life here. See, it's squishy like that. I even got another one because this was limited edition, and they have now in the permanent line a dual-sided one with a side that is much bigger than this one. This is the Mermaid collection. You might still find it if you're in Europe. Douglas, whatever you call it, still has this one. And the other tip of the dual-sided permanent one is a bit smaller than this one. Now, at first I thought the effect of it was disappointing, but then, you know, I put some on redness here, added that, and I must say it's pretty close to finger application, because I like the way these look most dabbed into the skin, never rot. Therefore, the original Hourglass concealer brush, and I really like this brush. I think it's great. Oh, that's something I should also show you in a second. But used with this concealer, it's a horrible cakey streaky mess underneath my eyes. I will do one more thing. I will apply a lot of this one to see if a higher amount does something, you know. Will it work better this way? So I will give it one more shot to wear as I see it on other creators. I mean, they go here, and when I do it, it looks a mess. So I'm not sure if it's just show makeup, you know, that applies a lot of coverage for a video but would look horrendous in person. Probably if I applied this right now with lights, you could not tell how awful it looked. So I'm not sure if that is just some different technique that I'm missing out on. I will do that one time when I'm feeling brave and know that I won't leave the house, because I expect it to go down horribly. Yeah, so I actually was planning on getting the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush concealer as well. But let me tell you this. For one thing, trying new products is a pain in the rear end. And trying new products is exhausting and annoying, and it just, I really cannot stand it with base products. And I have a feeling that I just like this one better. For me personally, I found a concealer that is a luminous blurring matte that holds up great. So I don't expect more by the Tilbury Airbrush concealer. And this also has a very special consistency. It is comparable to this one, but the way it feels, you can kind of feel that it's still a different animal, and why it would hold up so well. It almost feels like some type of rubber. It's odd. The way it feels going on, it's odd. It's definitely a intriguing product that I have not experienced like this so far. So if I ever was to run out of these, which hardly so, yeah, so I will not play around with Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush. I'm sorry, that's probably boring and that makes you not subscribe, but I also would like to encourage you, if you find something that works very good and actually does what you expected it to do. Oh, and by the way, this one I can put it on underneath the eyes without looking as bad as this one. So that's another difference. Otherwise, I would give the Tilbury a shot. But this is, if it's what you want, a luminous matte long wear, I'd call it a 10 out of 10. I would. And you know, the shade 09 is probably pretty perfect, because I would not grab it during the winter. And another thing, let me show you these concealer brushes real quick. Oh, did I finish my train of thought here? So this actually does not too bad at simulating the way finger application works. I recently took a look at a Real Technique set because it had a sponge and two brushes that claimed they would work like, you know, finger application, but I did not really like the quality and the way this sponge looked, and I did not see myself using that. But this one, and you know, I actually have great trouble to reach a very tiny blind spot with my fingers, especially when my nails are longer. I mean, I have to shorten them, I have to do them, they are crying for a manicure. But this one is actually really helpful for that. I don't think it worked so great today because I probably should have exfoliated a little bit better. So that put me off at first, but it doesn't work too bad. And I do prefer that this is not a dual brush. So I thought I mean, it probably would matter because these are so cheap, right? I cannot show you the other brush because the package, there was a face powder that broke and exploded all over it. So I hesitated and thought I don't have any use for the other one, since this is fine to reach the spot, and I prefer this to just stick it into my, you know, that thing for my brushes. But I thought this is a very unique concept, and even though right now I couldn't see not really any use for that bigger side and the smaller side. Oh, on top it has this dreadful rubberized finish, the other one in the permanent line. This one is just, you know, it has a normal surface, which I much prefer. Also, I mean, it's not in this apartment, but I've been in an apartment that, I mean, it got hot like a freaking oven. We're talking over 40 degrees Celsius in the summer. It was an oven, and everything rubberized I could throw out because it gets sticky. I hate rubberized finishes. Please stop it. NARS, please stop it. It's awful. Yeah, so that is not something very long. This does not have great longevity if it's confronted with hot climates. And what else? So yeah, this isn't too bad. And now let me show you what I mean about the Hourglass concealer brush. I'm not sure right now if I have shown it to you before, but this is the very popular Hourglass concealer brush. This is its shape. It has a little, it's a bit dipped here, you know. And this is by M. Wait, let me show you the writing. Okay, like j'aime, aimer, to love. And it's the exact same. Here you can see the pinch in the handle, and it's the exact same shape. Well, okay, pretty similar, right? Pretty similar. And I'm not sure where the M1 is made. I just see that it's well, it does have differences, but you know, the shape isn't too much of a difference. I'm sorry, the shape isn't the important thing. The important thing is, even though this is the Hourglass synthetic brushes are just made in China as well, obviously good high quality, but let me also tell you that I have the very same high quality made in China by Catrice, or even H&M. They also do nice brushes of that category. However, this one is just softer, and I have to add the Catrice brushes or the H&M brushes made in China, synthetic, comparable to this Hourglass quality. They are just as soft. But this one I thought might be a dupe, but it's not. This one is scratchier. So I really like the aesthetic, and I love this brand. You know, the powder foundation is just my absolute jam and lifesaver with my dermatitis here. And I would still consider to get the bigger face brush, even though I have certainly enough of that sort. I don't know. It's still cute, and it would not scratch as much on the face, you know. But this one I really do not love using it around my eyes, because this is so much softer. 1 second. All right. Another thing I'd like to share with you is these Clinique Quickliner for eyes. These are amazing. The way they go on is comparable to the way the Victoria Beckham kajals are, only that there is more substance, more grip to it. Well, not grip, they go on very creamy and soft, but without this slippy, slidey thing to it, you know. And you immediately notice when I put on, especially the matte one in Cocoa by Beckham, I really don't like that one, because it's very dark and intense and opaque, and when I put it on and it starts its slipping, sliding thing, my eyes are quickly a mess. And if I manage to apply it nicely, my eye makeup will be a mess 1 hour in, 2 hours in, you know. And I'm sorry, we have to deal with the scratchy voice now. And these ones, they go on soft and creamy, but with some grip to it. When I put them, you know, for example, when I put them in the waterline here, they will not immediately transfer to the bottom waterline. Actually, they won't do it all day long. It's not that these are high waterproof, long wearing formulas. This is why they are so soft and gentle, which I appreciate, but at the same time as long wearing as they can be, you know. They are so easy to work with. They last longer, they last better, they are so easy to apply. They are just what I actually would want from the Victoria Beckham, because the Victoria Beckham kajals are beautifully done in undertones, in what they look like. The one in bronze I will always love, as well as the sea gray, I think it's called. They are very beautiful. And you know, these with the shimmers, I don't know what they're called, who cares. The ones with the shimmers, they look much better smudged into the lash line. So it's more forgiving in application and in the way they look. And when they smudge over the day, it just looks a bit sexier, you know what I mean? So it's not a big deal, but something like the matte one, the cocoa shade, no, I really do not like it. if you put it onto your eyelids to create a smoky eye and actually use it just like a cream eyeshadow stick, um, sure, then you have better use for this cocoa shade than I do. But even for that purpose, it's still very creamy and slippy and slidey. And another thing that really bothers me is I really cannot stand sharpening my pencil or pen products. Even worse when it is such a creamy emollient formula, then it's a nightmare for me personally. I mean, that's something very specific about my preferences, and but these are twist ups, and this is just the cherry on top. These are so great. This is smoky brown, and this is moss. This is a very this moss shade. It goes onto the eyes and actually looks pretty neutral, just like a softer black almost. Well, it depends. When you go on top of the eyelids and smudge it to something eyeshadowy, of course, then you see more of that green peeking through. But oh boy, I really wish they had more shades. So I will put on the moss shade today so you can see that it's not bam in your face green. And this is the shade Smoky Brown. Yes, O2 Smoky Brown. It's a very beautiful neutral brown shade. Such a good shade, you know. This is another thing. The Victoria Beckham one is beautiful for a more well, maybe not. Maybe glam is too much of a statement, but more of a specific look. And these are just amazing for every day. And this is, and see the way they glide onto the skin, just like the Beckham one, just without the emollient nightmare, let's call it like that. So here you have, of course, the brown, and here is moss. It's some type of it's a very natural, neutral looking green. There is some soft khaki to it, but when you blend it on the eyelids, almost with something, I have to choose a nail that is not awful. Let me try to blend it here. So, and see here, you see you can blend it easily and smoothly, but without it sliding off your hand right away, right? So yeah, it's a beautiful, interesting shade of green that is very, very wearable and not intimidating. Sure, let me take this finger with the ugly band-aid here. And should I grab the Victoria Beckham? Let me do that. All right, here we have the cocoa. Oh, and another thing. These caps by Victoria Beckham, also on the lip liners, are very odd. One even got so stuck so badly, I almost wasn't able to get it off. I have a short or a video with it. It was ridiculous. However, so let me show you the way this goes on next to. So you have a lot of pigment immediately. And you know, people said when it helps to let it sit and set a little bit to then it grabs more, like, you know, the practice when you do that with concealer for higher coverage. That technique never made any difference for me. So what can I say? So here it goes on a lot more slippy. That makes it also incredibly hard to not over apply. and wait, what was I gonna say? Yes, and I would never ever grab this in a hurry. The shimmery shades like bronze, probably because they look great, messy, but this one, no. So here I only touch it softly, and when I rub as hard as for the other ones, it appears as if it was the very same formula. Ta-da! I'm sorry, but this is just not the way it works on the eyes. And I'm not going to demonstrate it. I'm not, because it will look a mess and awful. But also, can you see the way it stays, it remains here? So the other two by Clinique, they blended much prettier than this one, because here I just see some remains of it in some texture of my skin, while my hand is bent and it's actually there is no texture, but it's messy. The way it remains here is messier, and see, the other ones blended also better. Here it does. Can you see the difference? Oh yeah, I think you can. Can you see the way here you have the remains of the liner? Now this looks weird, of course. Well, besides the fact that it does not blend as nice and even as the Clinique one. Now you might say, well, what do you want? It even stayed on better. No, it does not. It does not. That's just me failing to demonstrate it properly. Right, and I'm not sure. I think I'm going to be cut off real fast here because I'm always filming on my phone. But I will now put on the Clinique in the green shade, in the shade Moss. And listen, maybe I will regret saying this. Maybe this will go down very badly. But usually I would, for eye stuff, always grab a mirror. Here I feel like I can actually make this work without a mirror, just looking into my screen thing here. So the way I really like to apply it is going here, so not fully covering my waterline. And mind you, I blinked immediately now, so when you put something on the waterline, you probably are getting the ick right now. When you put something on your waterline, you should try not to blink immediately for it not to transfer so badly. Okay, now I think I don't see as well. Okay, I did not change anything. I just wanted to see because I don't see it as detailed here in the